at what we found. It's a big sound in a small town. Far from the bright lights, they're making music every night. Hear what is all around. It's a big sound in a small town. It's a big sound in a small town. It's a big sound in a small town.
Hi, and welcome to Big Sound Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton, and this is a podcast about the lives and stories of the musicians, writers, artists, and their associates that have their roots in the small towns and communities across America. If you like what you hear, tell somebody. Enjoy.
Hello, I'm Angela Easterling, and I'm from Greer, South Carolina.
And then I'm Brandon Turner, and I'm from Packlet, South Carolina.
And we're musicians.
Sounds like the start of a joke, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're, I guess I would call myself a singer-songwriter. What would you call yourself, Brandon?
Oh, I don't know what I'd call myself. I'm afraid of what other people might call me.
We live in Greer, kind of towards Taylor's. They used to call that area Taylor's. Now they call it Greer, in between Greenville and Spartanburg.
Right.
And we live on a farm there that goes back in my mom's family to 1791.
Wow, that's cool.
And it's still a working family farm. My aunt and uncle have another house on the property, and they take care of our family small herd of cattle that we have there. But Brandon and I have 3 little boys.
Three boys.
At this point, they are 6 months old, 4 years old, and 7 years old.
Wow.
And they are the 10th generation of my mom's family descendants.
Really? That's
be on that land. And in fact, I did not grow up at that farm. We lived about 10-15 minutes away from there when I was growing up. So, but they actually, we all live in the same house that my mom lived in when she was a little girl.
Oh, that's cool.
And we live next door to the house that my grandfather lived in when he was a little boy. So there's a lot of history. And
does that factor into any of your songwriting?
Definitely, yeah. My first album I recorded when I was living in Los Angeles, my very first album, Earning Her Wings. And then I moved back home to South Carolina because I wanted to tour, and it was too expensive to
I understand.
live in LA and tour as much as I liked it out there. And around the time I moved back home, we started having some issues with our land, trying to hold on to our land because it's in an area that's really becoming developed real estate wise. And it's near like BMW plant, the airport, and all this stuff that's going on over there. So it started to really looked like for a while that we were going to lose it. And it was really like a wake-up call for me because I had been gone a while. I went to college in Boston and finished college in LA and lived in LA for a few years. And I had kind of just taken it for granted that it would
always be there.
Right. And also I think I had just come to a realization, especially when I lived in California, when I would tell people about it and they would just be like, wow, you have a land that goes back in your family, the 1700s. Like nobody has anything like that hardly anymore.
True. At that point, did you think you would ever be back to live on it?
No, when I first moved back here, I was going to get my bearings for a few months, and then I thought I was going to move to Nashville. That was my plan, was to move to Nashville, and then I sort of just started booking shows and touring and going up and down the East Coast solo, and I found, at that point, Facebook was starting and MySpace. Everybody was on MySpace, and then everybody was on Facebook, and they were doing Twitter, and there was so much going on in the internet that I started to realize, like, I don't really know if I need to be somewhere else to be able to book shows and tour and get people to see me. Like, it seems like I looked around Greenville and Spartanburg, and I noticed that the musicians in this area were playing a whole lot more shows than my friends in California were.
Oh, yeah.
And they were making a living playing music, and I thought, I might be able to stay here and make this work. And so the move to Nashville just never happened. I just stayed here.
And I'm thinking with the way things are these days, that was by providence. I don't know, but it was a pretty good move because people are leaving Nashville in droves. These musicians are leaving. So,
although I wish if I had the foresight to buy a condo or something in Nashville 12 years ago, when this time period I'm talking about, I could probably sell it and live off it.
I'm sure.
Now.
I'm sure.
But to go back to how the farm has influenced me, that at that point I really found that heritage and wanted to put that into my music, because that was one of the main things that was inspiring me. And my second album, Blacktop Road, a lot of that was inspired by the struggle and the stuff that my family was going through at that time to try to hold on to our land.
Oh, see, that's I guess that's the adversity creates magic sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It can be bad stuff can be a good inspiration.
Well, I mean, from what I understand these days, I have a friend, Trey Hill, who's from Shelby, who lives in Nashville, but he just moved to San Diego because he said, I'm making the same thing you're making in North Carolina or South Carolina, playing, shows. And he had just left Big and Rich as their guitarist.
Oh, okay.
And he said, I don't look for those days to come back anytime soon, to where I can go out on the road with a big act and they can afford to pay me well. So, you know, so he's moved to California. So
yeah,
it was getting to where in the past 10, 20 years, what's happened to the recording industry was making it, you know, shift, you know, as far as the business part of music was starting to shift toward live music. As far as making, you know, as far as paying the bills, you know, you weren't selling records like you would have been 20, even 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I could foresee that coming as far as a new way of really pushing live shows and live music.
Right.
And then this year with the virus, it really put a stop to that. So it's been kind of dried up completely almost.
Yeah. Are you guys getting to play any?
So we play occasionally. We had been before it started getting cooler weather here, you know, because
outdoor jobs, I guess.
Outdoor stuff. Yeah, I mean, we'd been, so, you know, you just, the smaller places you just can't, you can't get into and get bunched up with people.
Yeah, and I don't want to do anything that's going to encourage people to put themselves in a situation where they could get ill. We have, you know, how would you feel if somebody came out to one of your shows and wound up getting sick? It'd just be awful.
Have y'all live streamed and stuff?
We have been doing that. Yeah, we've done a few of those. That's hard to get used to. We're still ironing out the kinks in that, because I mean, every single time we do one, something goes wrong. It just,
just
you
getting
never
getting the technical side of that.
No, what's going to
It's
happen.
harder than what it appears, what people believe it is.
Yeah.
What I've seen with it is sometimes it's the internet hookup that fouls it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, there's 100 different things that, as musicians,
We don't usually have to worry about.
exactly. So there's somebody else there to take care
Right.
of it, and some of those guys that I know, that I know several videographers and guys like that. Now they're all over that stuff. It's been good for them, but for, you know, we're going to figure this out at home. Yeah, it's harder. It's harder than what you think it is.
The last time we did one, our internet dropped.
Yeah.
About halfway through, everybody that was watching got dropped. It came right back on, so we were able to get it right back on. But then, you know, nobody knew what happened or where we were, and I mean, it's just every time. It just seems like every time we do it, something like that's just you don't know, you don't expect.
And it's you know, then I've had people that have said, well, we give up the live part and we're recording it and putting it out there, you know, the same way, which is not quite the same, you know. I mean, people like the live part because they can talk back to you.
The interaction
they can
is
interact
nice.
and ask you to play something.
Right.
Or tell you not to play something.
Or ask you questions.
Ask you a question, yeah.
That part of it's fun. I like that. We had I mean, it's just been such a crazy year. I mentioned we have a new baby.
Right.
We even had to do our baby shower that way.
Like a Zoom or something?
We did it on Facebook Live.
Facebook Live?
And
that's cool.
And people were attending, in quotation marks I say, our baby shower all over the country and watching us sit there open presents.
I mean, that is something you couldn't have had before, though.
I know.
Because of this. So I guess there's positives take away from this.
Well, it's just being a part of history. I mean, someday people will look back at this time, I guess, if the human race continues.
Maybe.
They will look back and say, wow, you know, that's what they did to get through it. And when you're in the middle of it, you're just trying to get through it, you know. But yeah, there's good parts and bad parts to the whole live streaming thing. It's been I'll be glad when we can get back to doing things regular way, if they ever do get back.
Well, you know,
because I miss that.
You're hoping by the summer it'll come back. Here again, with the group I'm with, we booked for this year and none of it came through. So you just don't know. I mean, you take it on faith a little bit that it'll be there, but I don't know. Has it financially impacted you guys?
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, both of us are musicians. That's what we do for a living.
Right.
So we've gotten to where we just, running on fumes a little bit. But one thing I've seen, it's not whether it's our live stream or we had planned to release an album this year,
Right.
and instead of doing that, we kind of released things a little bit by little, like a single.
Sure.
Putting out a single once a month. We still plan to put them all together on a.
Yeah, compilation, but make it a.
But
project.
having those kind of things where somebody will go in and they'll I have it on Bandcamp where you pay
Right,
what you
yes,
want,
right.
and people will send you $100
Sure.
for a song,
Right.
and that it's not because they think that's $100 song, but they understand that.
Yeah, they do.
The situation that we're in, and we've just been the recipients of incredible generosity from people that just really touched my heart, that I didn't know, what was going to happen. I didn't know that this was going to happen, of course, this year, but then seeing how our music has meant something to people to the degree that they'll sit down and write a
Sure.
check and send me a check in the mail, and it's really astonishing. It's because I didn't know.
Kind of makes you believe in America still,
It does.
when stuff like that happens.
It does.
Patreon account, where people, it's like, we know you can't be out there doing what you do, but we're still supporting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I try to tell people. Hey, you go out and you have 2 beers. Well, you could take that 2 beers and sit at home and pay somebody for their art.
Yeah.
What is the cost of 2 beers?
Right.
To you it's nothing. To the person that's receiving the money, it's big. It means
Yeah,
something.
it does. That's true. That's true.
And I guess it affects you as you're not the face, you're the guy that makes everybody sound. Brandon, you make everybody sound better than what they are.
That's true.
Is that what I do?
That is what you do.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good, but I'm only pretty good if I don't have a guy like you,
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
So that's but does that affect you too now? Is it easier for you to go be a side man,
As far as work, the work that I've done some studio. There's still
that's what I was
still a
going with
little
that.
bit of studio work as far as, but even that I think probably because of the people don't have the money. I guess the artists don't have the money maybe coming in to spend on stuff. So that has slowed down quite a bit. But yeah, I do still occasionally do a studio job here and there, and we had our middle kid Miles. He said he told Angela just a few days ago that she needed to go sing a song and get some money because he wanted a pool.
A pool?
So
he asked me if we could get a pool.
I don't know if he understands exactly how much a song's
How many songs are you going to have to sing to get a pool?
To get a pool.
I might have to get Beyonce or somebody else to sing one of my songs if I'm going to get a pool.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a great story. That's
Yeah, he said. I said, we're going to have some money if you want to get a pool. And we might not have money. He said, well, Mommy, you can just go sing a song.
That's beautiful. They think you can do that,
Well, yeah, they know that that's what we do, but they're understanding of, which I think is good. You don't want your little kids to be worried about money.
True.
They haven't had to worry about anything, and they sleep good at night. So
That's great.
I feel like we've been a success so far.
Yeah, we don't want to make it sound like we're poor mouthing here
Right,
or anything
right,
of that matter.
yeah.
It's but we're getting by, and everybody's getting by. It's just it's an adaptation to a different world. Really, this year is just not. It's just not a normal year.
True.
The whole world's different this year, and everybody's just adapting to it and doing what we can.
Yeah.
You realize when you make, as we all have, the decision that music's going to be pretty much your life, you kind of already realize it comes with some obstacles and some tough stuff. But no one anticipated something like this.
Right.
It's not something that, we've probably all lived basically in a van and toured around, and you know, you thought that was bad, but it's not like this.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So how did you wind up in California?
Well, I went to the college that I went to had a external campus out there.
Okay.
I went to Emerson College
Sure.
in Boston, and they have a LA campus, and so I was able to do my whole senior year in LA, and I loved it. I just fell in love with the people out there and the music scene. At the time, there was just this cool music scene with like Dwight Yoakam and Lucinda Williams and all the people that played in their bands, and that's where they lived and that's where they were recording their music, and you know, sort of alt country or whatever you'd want to call it, people that were, you know, influenced by the Byrds and Graham Parsons and Crosby, Stills and Nash and that kind of music, and that was really my introduction to the kind of music I wanted to play. Up until that point, well, I only started writing songs when I was in college. I got my first guitar when I was a freshman in college and started writing songs and, you know, just kind of doing the folky thing, I guess. But then when I heard that California country, alt country,
that's pretty cool stuff, no doubt.
And it kind of was a connection between where I'd grown up in South Carolina and the heritage of that music, and the sort of folk music and rock music that I
Sure.
you know, loved.
Well, in Boston,
kind of brought them all together.
You were in Boston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boston actually has had a vibrant folk scene for years
Right.
and years. I mean, even after it disappeared from everywhere else. And folk's a bad way to put it, because a lot of folk is just singer-songwriters, but there's no other category to put them in.
Yeah.
So my experience as a singer-songwriter is Kerrville
Oh,
Folk
yeah.
Festival, which I was fortunate enough to be a part of as a songwriter. So
Oh, wow, that's great.
so yeah, I learned a really good lesson. I learned that I wasn't as good a songwriter as I thought I was.
Man, there's
So-
nothing more humbling. I've been a New Folk finalist 4 times.
Exactly. So, you know.
And you go out there and you just sit there and listen to the song after song after song, and it's inspiring and it's humbling, and
Yep.
the people at Kerrville, you know, you tell them you're a New Folk finalist, you're a songwriter.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome home. We love you. We appreciate you. We love what you do. I mean, whereas a lot of times you show up to the brewery to play and people are like, can you play something by, you know, Taylor Swift or whatever?
And that's one of the beautiful things about that area and about Texas really is they really appreciate songwriters and musicians.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonathan Byrd, I don't know if y'all know
Oh,
Jonathan.
yeah.
He did the show yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And he won. He won it, you know, and that's what he said. Actually, Texas launched his career, you know, that without Texas and Kerrville, that he would have, he said he didn't know what he'd done, you know.
Yeah.
So
He's great.
So, yeah, he is great. He's a good guy. But I think that's funny that in a 2-day course, there's 3 people sitting here who've done that, you know.
Yeah.
And that was kind of by design on my part, though. but I mean, because people miss that part of music. They don't even know it exists.
Right.
And it's too bad every place isn't like that. I mean.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you go and sit around the campfire, and people want to hear. They want to hear what you wrote. They don't want to hear you sing somebody else's song. They want to hear what you wrote, and
they listen.
It's just great. I miss it. I mean, I keep going back. I keep, you know, applying and going back. You know, not necessarily because I want to win really bad, but it's just like an excuse to go back there as many times as I possibly can.
And have somebody listen to your music instead of get through and know you've killed it or know it's a really great song, and everybody's just standing there drinking their beer and having their conversation.
Right.
So,
yeah, I love it. I love Kerrville. They did the New Folk competition virtually this year.
So which is not the same, because you have to have the whole campground, the whole Kerrville.
Right.
I mean, of course, it would be good to win it that way, but it's the whole experience.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I didn't really get that. That didn't resonate with me until maybe the third time I went. So first couple of times I was like, I want to get in here and I want to win this thing because it's
Right.
going to help my career, you know. And I think the second time I was in it, I didn't even stay a whole day. I
yeah.
I was
Went and
flying
did
in
it.
from California. I had to leave the next day to do something else. And I like barely spent a night there. And then the third time I went, actually Brandon and I went together, and it's just a wonderful, you know, just really stopped and took in what was going on, and it was like, wow, you know, I should have let myself have this the first two times I came here because I just didn't get it, you know.
Yeah.
But now I do, and now I'll go back as many times as I can.
It's really good. Now, I know you didn't start playing that late in life. I know you started at an early age.
I started playing guitar for, you know, being serious with it.
Right.
When I was about 9 years old. My dad played drums in bands when I was growing up, so I was always around music, and you know, in the house and people playing, and then when he had a band, and they'd be rehearsing and so forth. But I remember there was an acoustic. I had a like a Fender acoustic or something that had been, I don't remember where it came from. I think it had been my mom's, but anyway, I would mess with that a little bit and just never really got anywhere on that. And we were at a flea market. Me and my dad was at a flea market, and he saw this some old transistor amplifier there, you know, some old, like a Silvertone or something, for like $12 or something. And he says, you know, he said, I've got an old electric guitar that was mine when I was a kid. And he said, if you want to, we'll get that amp and we'll see if we can get it to work. And I said, yeah, let's do that, you know. So we got he bought the amp, and he put the guitar back together. It was like a Kent or something like that, Tesco or Kent or something from the '60s. And you know, when I started playing that thing, I guess that inspired me a little bit more or something. But I just you know, I started trying to listen to everybody I could from
I wondered if you had somebody that was just a big influence, or you just listened to everybody.
Originally, when I was a teenager, it was Jimi Hendrix, you know, of course, like everybody else, and Van Halen and stuff.
Right.
But as I got in my later teens, I realized that you know, you need to listen to even stuff that you don't necessarily think you might learn something from, you know, jazz pieces, and but I really got into the finger picking guitar players like Chet Atkins. And well, even though he used those as a thumb pick,
he did.
But Mark Knopfler and Jeff Beck are probably my two favorite living players now.
Fabulous players, both of them. So at some point, did you decide, hey, I'm pretty good, I'm going to get in a band?
No,
really.
I never. You know, I don't think I ever had any plan with it. I just started playing because it was fun, and it felt natural to me. I remember at one point when I was maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, picking up a guitar. Must have been earlier than that. I mean, maybe I don't know how. I was just a kid, but picking up a guitar and just holding it and knowing that, and wondering why I couldn't play it. It felt like I should just be able to. That was something that was just felt natural to me, and eventually I did learn to play it, but with no. Maybe it was a bad thing that I didn't have a focus of where I really wanted to go with it. If I wanted to go to school and get an education in it, or if I wanted to start a rock, you know, whatever. But it just I just kind of went to wherever the calling was for a guitar player, and that's probably how I ended up doing the sideman thing, you know.
But it's a good. I mean that I'm always I think that's wonderful. I mean that is bands are problematic, as you well know. I mean I mean that's being kind too.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, even when they're really good and really talented. In fact,
even when there's only two of them.
Two
people and you know.
True. Yeah. I've seen that go bad too a lot of times too. So, but then somehow you parlayed all that into recording studios and playing all over with everybody in the upstate, just about. I mean,
yeah, I've been fortunate that for some reason people liked what I was doing enough to want me to be part of a lot of different projects and a lot of different styles of projects,
I agree,
from
totally.
bluegrass to blues and rock and that sort of thing. Yep.
And that's most people I have, they just never see that part of it. I mean, you have really a unique and individual deal because you have been. I need a guitarist, call Brandon, man, he'll help you out,
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, I've heard the people you play with alone, and I've heard the people you play with, and it's different.
Yeah.
If you want to sound better, hey, here's a number,
I try to bring something that will add to that's my job in those situations. I mean, if it's a co-bill with somebody, then I'll play some songs that I wrote and do some, step out a little more and do something different. But when I'm backing up somebody, that's the whole point. I don't want to overplay them or play over the vocals. You want to be tasteful and just do things that.
You've really done a good job at that.
Thank you.
That taste thing is key. I mean, it's not just that he's versatile and can play so many different styles, but it's having the taste to know not to, play all your best licks over the vocals.
Your tone is fabulous too. Before I forget it, tone is 90% of somebody's sound too. And
that's what every guitar player is chasing.
It is,
and you never get. I don't think you ever get to the point where you say, "Oh yeah, now I've got it. Now I've found it."
Yeah.
Well,
and I think you find it somewhat for some maybe somebody that you're backing up. You think, well, I found it for this person, but it doesn't work for who I'm playing with now. It's like, I love my tone when I was playing with so and so, but I'm still searching for it here. But you seem to grasp that pretty quickly. So. That's so what you guys got as a project going on together?
Well, we've been recording aside from raising these babies. Which takes up a lot of our time. That's a pretty big project right there. 3 boys.
Sure.
Got to raise them up good.
I understand.
We've been just whenever we have a little time, we've been getting in the studio and recording, and so we've pretty much got a whole album done. It's just a matter of getting everything. And I like I said, I was going to do it this year, but when it appeared early on in the year that so many things were getting canceled and all the dates I had booked got canceled, and a lot of our recording sessions got canceled to finish things up, I said, well, we'll just wait until next year. But we will have a new album out soon. I think it's actually going to be our first duo album because we have the first song even though we've been playing music together 10, 11 years now, we've never written together.
Right.
So we have a song that we wrote together. There'll be some songs with Brandon singing lead vocal for the first time because usually the albums are just put out under my name.
Right.
I think this will be the first time we have one that's out under both of our names.
That's really cool.
So I don't know if we're going to, do we need to come up with a band name or should we just go by our regular names? I don't know if we'll have a duo names.
Regular names. Let's use their
irregular names.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then we'll just see what happens. I mean, we're like you, have got some stuff booked. I had some stuff booked that got canceled and then rescheduled for November and then canceled again and rescheduled for April and May.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
You don't.
I don't know. I mean, we got to get through this thing. And
is it difficult to write together?
Well, we don't sit down together and say, we didn't. I think all the times we've tried to write together, it's more like, here's the idea, and Brandon has some music, and I work on the lyrics, or I say, here's an idea, and he comes up with something, and then we kind of do it that way.
Yeah, we generally don't do.
Don't
when
sit
we write
down
a
and
song,
make
we
a
don't
project.
work. We don't actually write the song together in the
Yeah.
same room.
You don't do the Nashville thing where, where you
Yeah.
got 6 people and you get in there and I got an idea and
sometimes she'll have a draft of some lyrics and I'll change a few things in that and she'll say, well, should there be a B section or a bridge,
an instrumental
and
section.
I'll come up with something for that, and then
Yeah.
if I think it needs something or not. And
have you primarily written your songs by yourself?
Always.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew you had, but you have to bring that up. I mean,
Right. Yeah. I have the last album I released, which was Common Law Wife. I wrote every song on there by myself, like a big girl. And but I mean, even before that, I might have had on my albums. My very first album, I had one song that I had written with someone else.
Yeah.
I've just never gotten. I would like to do more of the co-writing thing. I think it'd be great. If I was in Nashville, I'm sure that I would try to be doing some more of that. But a lot of times now it's like I write the song and play it for Brandon, and he'll say, if you change the rhythm up here, or if you put a minor chord in there, and it's that kind of thing. And then he's the first person to hear every song.
Sure.
And he's the first person I want to hear it and to see what he thinks about it, because if he doesn't think it's a good song, it's probably not going to stay in the mix.
Well, that's because he has unlike a lot of times when you play stuff for people, he has your best interest at heart. You know? And both of you are best interest at heart. So if he probably says, I don't really like that, it probably would have more weight than if I would say, I don't really care for that. Which I totally understand and is really cool, because he's not just saying it to appease you. It's
right.
Like, this needs something right here. It's not because he wants to make you happy or something. So that's pretty cool, actually.
And there's been songs too that I wrote that I wasn't crazy about. I'm trying to think of on Lay My Head, the song called Lay My Head, which was on our last CD, my last CD. I was like, I just don't know about that song. I'm not super into that song. Brandon's like, no, we got to do this song.
I insisted on that one, I guess.
We got to do this song. This is a great song. And now, I mean, I just love that song, because after all these years that we've had of playing it live, it really goes over. And it's one that people really like, and I didn't get it and he got it, so his opinion of things really resonates with me.
Well, I'm the world's worst, and I have been, of who likes songs sometimes that I'm really high on aren't the songs that turn out to be something that somebody is high on, and some that somebody else records sometimes catches me totally by surprise, because I didn't even really care for the song. I mean, sometimes you write songs, you don't know why you write it. It's just, at the time it seemed like a good idea, but then it's like, I don't really like this. And then somebody goes, hey man, I really like that song.
I know.
Like, really? So, I mean,
Yeah.
Or sometimes, I got this song, man, I love it. It's just fabulous. And it's like, nah, it's not. I mean, no, nobody likes it. So, I mean, songwriting is brutal in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And and now you pretty much do a two-person thing, but by yourself can be horrible. As good as it can be, it can be equally as bad by yourself.
Yeah.
It's the hardest job in America, really.
I think that's why I think it's good to have and I feel very fortunate that Brandon's there to kind of bounce things off of, and just be like that filter.
Sure. Oh yeah, and if you get stuck in a song and he's there, you can let him play and work your way out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a song that I really like that'll be on the new album. It's called Home, and that was just one where I was playing him the song, and he said that was the one where he just said, and he didn't even say you need to do this. He said, it's interesting how you have the same chords all the way through the verse and the chorus. And then I was like,
slick, man.
Okay.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah. And then, I just changed it up. I put a minor chord in the verse, and it just completely changed the whole song, and it it transformed it into something that it was so much better than what it was when I first came up with it.
I applaud your approach on that. That was really good.
Yeah, that's good. I did good on that.
Yeah, that was you know, that's yeah.
Yeah, you can't when you're working and living together and doing that whole thing, you can't really say that sucked.
Yeah, I mean that's where I was going. Yeah, that was good.
Your guitar is just the way it's just a little out of tune. That's very unique. I've heard that before, but not a lot of people play it.
I was young, and I had a guy who lived next door with me wound up being Doc Watson's bass player, Michael Coleman, but. I went to Doc's with Michael one time. There's 3 or 4 other people there, and we sit there down and we tuned up, and it was before time of tuners. So, you know, and I'm sitting there and Doc goes, somebody's about 100th off. Well, of course, I'm the new guy there, so I'm assuming it's me, you know, but I would not touch my tuning peg. You know, I wouldn't go up there because then everybody know, or I thought so. I just sit there and did nothing, but everybody else was like thinking it was them, but I'm pretty sure it was me. But you know, but then he said, "Oh, it's okay. It's close enough. Let's play." You know, but he lets you know that hey, somebody here is not right.
Yeah. Right.
Which was kind of telling you that, you know, hey, I'm Doc Watson and you're not. You know, which is cool. I mean, so yeah, he had a way.
And he was.
He was. He sure was.
Yep. So. It's really strange. So, I know it's a long drive up here, but you guys have such a good story. You know.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us on.
We don't know a date on the release of this, do we?
No, we don't. We still have. I'm still writing stuff that I want to put on there. It's like hard to know when the cutoff point is, but it'll be probably sometime around the middle of the year, I think. Put everything together, get a design concept, and hope that we've got some shows booked to get out there, you know, behind it.
How big is your catalog of songs now?
I don't even know. I mean, if you count all the ones that I've forgotten along the way, there'd be hundreds. But I still play song. I have one song that I still play that I wrote 20 years ago.
Really?
And so I tell people I wrote it when I was just 5 years old.
Yeah, I always go with that.
But I still have stuff from like my early days of songwriting that
you still use,
that I still play. So I feel good about that I've got, you know, I do have stuff I can draw from to fill up the hours.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's you know, it's songwriters. How does stuff come to you?
Sometimes I have an idea and I think I want to write about this and kind of file it away in my head or maybe make a little note. And but most of the time, I'd say probably at least 70 or 80% of the time, I'm just sitting down, picking up the guitar, and seeing where the melody takes me.
It doesn't come to you at 3 o'clock in the morning as a gift from God?
No, not right now. Not with a new baby.
Yeah.
The only thing that comes to me at 3 o'clock in the morning is wah. So even if I had anything at that point, it'd be gone. I mean, right now with just everything that I'm juggling with the human babies, sometimes the song babies go by the way, get neglected a little bit.
I mean, 3 boys. Whew.
But I have to say that our middle son, Miles, he's 4, and he's so creative constantly. And just as an artist, I've been so inspired by him lately. Because I remember being that way. I remember being in that space. I mean, he gets up first thing in the morning, gets out of bed and says, I need to draw a picture. I need to. I mean, I need to draw something right now. You know, we're trying to go somewhere else, but I need to draw something, you know. And he's always playing the piano and playing the guitar and singing and making up songs, but especially the drawing thing. I mean, it's just, and I'm so inspired by that. And I, you know, as we grow older, we, you know, you think I need to write something, but instead I'm gonna unload the dishwasher. You know,
Right.
there's all these
Yeah.
things we have to do, and I wanna find my way back into that place of like, because that's where really the magic happens in songwriting. It's like when you need that, and I still feel that. And I want to try to honor that as much as I can.
Do you think songs sometimes you have an idea, but then you have children to look after, and I never, you can't recapture it?
Yeah, I wonder about that. Does the song like wander off to somebody else who that will, bring it into the.
Sure.
I think about that sometimes if I don't, especially if I have an idea that I think is really cool, and then I'm really like, I need to do this because if I don't, somebody else is gonna come to this.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna find its way.
Sometimes I have to find
out
mine.
there.
I'm doing something, and it's like, I don't really have time. I got this idea. I don't really have time at the moment to.
Yeah.
We're sitting here right now, and if I've got an idea, it's like I got to remember this while it's
Right.
going on. And,
Right.
and then sometimes they leave me, and I never get them back.
Yeah.
And-
That's
and-
true.
And I can't recreate it.
Right.
I think because I'll have the lyrics kind of going,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden when I take the time to do it, I cannot get them to match up the way I had them in my mind. So it's songwriters are a little,
Yeah. It's a muse. You gotta.
It kind of is.
You gotta nurse it so that it comes and it stays with you. Because what I've found is the more you ignore that little voice, the easier it gets to ignore it, and you can ignore it for months if you
can.
it gets quieter and quieter and quieter.
Sure it does.
But if you listen to it, then you can hear it. Like if you're present to it, and you can hear it, and so as busy as I am with children, like I said, my middle son right now is just really inspiring me to listen for that voice every
That's
day,
good.
the way he does.
That's good. With 3 boys, that voice won't talk long as they get older.
No.
It's. Well, I do appreciate y'all coming up here and doing this.
It's
This
been
has
a
been
pleasure.
nothing
Thank
but
you.
fun for me.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. It's been
All
a
right,
pleasure.
thank you.